गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Suppose we know the absolute standpoint. So what? There are many people who have this kind of line of thinking. Swamiji, you are talking about God, Brahman, reality, absolute. Okay, suppose I am the absolute reality. So what? Suppose I am Brahman. So what? So I ask that person, suppose you have eaten food. So what? If it is a supposition, you will be still hungry. If you have really eaten the food, you will have the biological onkar. Oh, Krita Krityascha Bharata. Therefore, these two visions are to be clearly understood. We are at present living our life from the relative standpoint. And we have all known what we are suffering or enjoying. And we have come to a conclusion logically by analyzing our own experiences that on the relative standpoint, there is no solution to any problem. This is the truth. Now this relative lifestyle we have been living very sincerely. Now if we want to be really scientific in our approach to life, then let us conduct another experiment in our life. Without conducting the experiment and experiencing the things, to condemn something is not the way a scientific man can adopt in life. So what is the second option? Second option is, let us start living our life from the absolute standpoint. And if we want to live the life from the absolute standpoint, then what will be the lifestyle? Now the teacher says in the 6th verse, Yatha Akasha Sthito Va Nityam Vayu Sarvatra Go Mahan Tatha Sarvani Bhutani Masthani Tyupadharaya. Then the life will be like the space. See, in our scriptures there are 3 kinds of spaces defined. One is the gross space, which is emptiness. And because it is emptiness, it can contain everything. So this is the gross space meant for the gross world where relativity is the standpoint. Relativity is wherever there is more than one, it is relativity. So, this is the gross space. Second is the mental space. In that mental space, we see all the dreams and we entertain all the daydreams. If I go to that place, I will be having this thing, I will do this thing, I will do. Where are you seeing all that? It is in the mental space. Now the third space is called as the conscious space. And the beauty of the conscious space is, it is a solid space. See the contradictions. The gross space and the mental space are empty. Avakashatmak akashaha. But the conscious space is a solid space. And in this solid space, what is the experience is told to us by giving an example from our day-to-day life. Now what is the example? Yatha akasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan. Space has got two aspects. One is from the absolute standpoint. Second is from the relative standpoint. From the absolute standpoint, space is the reality. From the relative standpoint, space is the creator of the air. Now, what is the difference between the space and the air? Space is without movement, air is with movement. Space has no modifications, air has modifications. Space has nowhere to go, air has to go everywhere. See? So these are contradictions. Space without change, air with constant change. So, where from the air has come? Air has come out of the space. And the space by itself is absolute. So when the absolute space is referred with reference to the air, it becomes a relative space. So, the space has two aspects. One is absolute aspect, second is relative aspect. So, Swamiji is becoming very difficult. Why don't you tell some example which we can understand, we grastas? Okay. Man is absolute, husband is relative. Man is all the time happy and the husband pretends to be happy. The difference. The same thing will happen. When we start living as space, our happiness will be absolute happiness. And that absolute bliss is independent of any relativity. And for the relative one, in the relative world there are many stories. That day I told you one story, remember? A sweet story, ending in a good manner. He asked her, will you marry me? She said, no way. And they parted apart and lived happily thereafter. What a good conclusion. So, the space is absolute as well as relative. In the same manner, the supreme reality has both the shades, absolute as well as relative. When we opt for the relative lifestyle, we are bound to suffer in this world. And when we have selected by our own choice that I am that absolute reality, then what will happen? The same thing, what happens to the space when there is a storm. The same thing, what happens to the space when there are terrible rains. The same thing, what happens to the space when there is an inferno. Nothing touches the space. In the same manner, when we adopt, accept, start living this absolute standpoint, from that point of view, there are no problems to be solved, all the problems are dissolved. See? And therefore, this knowledge is not only for, so what will happen? Please remember, by reading the menu, you will never have the satiation of hunger. Hunger can be satiated only after eating the food. So we have to very clearly understand this basic understanding that unless we change our viewpoint, there is no solution to any problem in this world. See, today we completed 11th canto of Bhagavad Mahapuran, and Bhagwan Krishna has taken care of all his children. All the Yadavas were made to fight with each other among themselves, and all of them died. And Bhagwan thought, thank God, the Lord of the earth, which is in the form of the Yadavas, is deleted. But Bhagwan forgot, when you delete a matter from your computer, it is collected in the recycling bin. And all those Yadavas are still here in this world. He has not emptied that. And therefore all the problems. So friends, this is the way, and therefore only spiritual practices look at the world from the absolute standpoint, like the water looks at the ocean and at the waves. When the water looks at the ocean and the wave, what is the understanding? There is no sankalpa, there is no thought born after seeing. Now I am taking you one step further. How the relativity is born? Relativity is born with the birth of the first thought. In the deep sleep, when we are snoring away, there are no thoughts. In the absence of a sequence of thoughts, relativity cannot be created. And therefore our experience in the deep sleep is, we are a homogeneous, undivided, infinite, unconditioned experience of just being. That is the reason when we get out of the sleep, we are so fresh. That is the reason we want to go to sleep whenever we get a chance. See? So what we do in the sleep? We do only one thing. Give up the relativity and hold on to the absolute. If this is clearly understood, you will see all the problems begin from our mind. Not from anywhere. And once you are clear about it, relativity is born with the birth of the mind. I am taking you still deeper, be very attentive. Consciousness expresses in the body as mind. After the birth of the mind in the body as consciousness, then the body becomes enlivened. Consciousness is present in the living and the dead body equally. Consciousness cannot give up anything. Masthani sarva bhutani. Ocean cannot give up any wave. See? The live wave is in the ocean, and the dead wave does not go away from the ocean. It is in the ocean. So what is that which makes the dead body different from the living body? The capacity in that body where consciousness can express as mind. So it is the mind which is creating the individuality. And when this mind is enfolded, individuality disappears. And this disappearance of the individuality is not death. Disappearance of the individuality is attainment of the absolute. Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi says, Aham anasha bhaji aham aham taya spurati vrut swayam parama purna sat. in the disappearance of the individuality is the experience of the Absolute. And the Absolute is Parama Purna Sat. There is nothing lacking in that. And such a place wherefrom consciousness alone expresses, not as a mind, but through the mind, not as a body, but through the body, not as a prana, but through the prana. Such a master is called as a Jivan Mukta, liberated while alive. Dekho Maharaj, this is what will happen if we change our standpoint. And we have seen the beauty is, you don't have to do anything. Simply change your focal length. See, you must have seen when you take a picture, now these video fellows are taking my picture. Now in this, if he is taking the picture at the eye level, if he is taking the picture from the lower level, and if he is taking the picture from the upper angle, what will be the difference? When the picture is taken from the lower level, I will look like a giant. When the picture is taken from the higher level, I will look like a pygmy. My correct perception will be when it is at the eye level. In the same manner, when we look at the world from the relative standpoint, there will be nothing but miseries. And when you look at the world from the absolute standpoint, there is nothing but bliss. See the difference. And therefore, this is the way. Change your focal length, change your standpoint, and then look at the world. The world is the most beautiful place to live and to die. Yatha akacha sthito nityam vayu sarvatrogo mahan tatha sarvani bhutani masthani tyubadharaya. Then we come to know the whole world is in me. Now be very attentive. Whatever we have recognized as I, for that we have natural love. See? You must have seen our Shurpanakha Ammas. You know Shurpanakha means what? Those whose nakha means nail. Shurpa means soup. Shurpanakha means those girls who have got very long nails. They are called as Shurpanakha. You look at them. I was in Delhi. There was one girl. She was doing her CA. Very sweet girl. And I went to their house for food. And she did namaskar. Till then I had never seen any girl with that kind of makeup from a close distance. I said, hey, let me see. Hey, give me your hand. Then I was seeing, I said, are they artificial or natural? And how beautifully you have done and all that. You don't eat them. Next day again she came. She cut them all, normal. I said, what happened to her? Swamiji, I was feeling so bad, you are looking at my nail. I said, now I am looking at your head also. I said, what did you do with those nails? I threw them away. Look here. When those nails were the part of I, they were an ornament of beautification, is it not? When the same nails were cut, they are detached from the definition of I, they became a garbage. From the absolute standpoint, when you look at this world, everything is included in the definition of I. In that, what is good and what is bad? Good and bad is possible only from the relative standpoint. In the absolute, there is neither good nor bad. In US, I was there. The one person asked this question. Swamiji, you Indians, sometimes you say either, sometimes you say either. What is the correct way of pronouncing? I said, I don't know. And there was a South Indian there. Swamiji, it is simple, it is either. Neither either, nor either, either. Like Hyder Ali. So, when we include everything in us, there is no either or. There is only one without a second. And that experience is the experience of living. The experience of duality is the experience of death. We don't have to die only through the body. We die every moment. When the childhood died, we became teenagers. When the teenage died, we became middle-aged. When the middle-aged died, we became not so old age. And when that not so old age died, we became probably old age. And then when that died, we became certified old age. Isn't it? Senior citizen to get the concession in the railways. So, tatha sarvani bhutani masthani tripadharaya. So, after having given this, now the teacher continues. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye punastani kalpado visrujamyaham. Now, how the Lord is looking at this world. From the devotion point of view, this is the language. From the scientific point of view, what will be the understanding of the creation from the Creator's point of view? See? There cannot be creation without a Creator. So now the Creator, the Lord, the Supreme, the Absolute is telling, Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam. So all the whole world of names and forms, they are absorbed in me and they are brought out from me. The best example that I can think of is the kids eating the bubble gums. They're going and then beautiful bob comes out. It looks very ugly. And then after they are tired, and again they absorb it. This example is given in Upanishad. Yathornanabi srujate grunnate cha. Just like the spider brings out the thread, he is the material and he is the contractor who is constructing the whole house. In the same manner, the whole world, the matter of which the world is made is me, and the designer of this world, the nimitta karan or the efficient cause, that too is me alone. This is the basic difference between our approach to the reality and the approach by all other of the schools of thought. When the Lord Himself is the world, be very attentive. When the Lord Himself is the world, there can be only one relation. And the relation is that of merging back. What will be the relationship between the waves and the ocean? Competition, jealousy, struggle, frustration, complaints. Will the picture complain about the artist? Think. Suppose there is a picture drawn. And the picture is there and they say, why dirty picture? It's not a good one. Now will that picture complain about its own creator? Cannot. The moment we start complaining about the God, our relationship is that of duality. Therefore, this is the first understanding what creation means. So creation is neither creation nor destruction. It is only unmanifestation and manifestation. Now, if somebody asks a question, when was the world created? One person asked me this question, a professor of philosophy. When the world was created? I said the question is wrong. Wrong questions cannot have right answers. He said, how come the question is wrong? I said, on what basis you are asking this question when the world was created? You have presupposed that there was a time when there was no world. And then you can ask this question. And second thing, you are presupposing there will be a time when there will be no world. And beginning and end is possible only on a straight line, not on the circumference of the wheel. Time is not a straight line. It is Kala Chakra. It is the wheel of time. And therefore, every moment is the moment of creation and every moment is the moment of destruction. To tell this subtle truth, the teacher has used the word kalpa. Kalpa means what? Kalpa means kalpana, a thought projection. Now see, the other day, one husband was complaining about his wife. And his complaint was, Swamiji, you please tell her, at least she should respect my age. I am elder than her. But she makes a fool of me. I said, she already made it long time back. Anyway, now you tell her, she should listen to me. I said, look here, I will tell the truth whether you like or not. What is the truth? I said, both of you are of the same age. He said, no, Swamiji, I am 7 years elder than her. Not elder, elder than her. I said, look here, Maharaj, were you married to her 7 years earlier? Both of you got married to each other the same moment. Your relationship of husband and wife is of the same age. Isn't it? So when you are dealing with your wife, don't claim that you are elder. Now what is a wife and husband relationship? Only kalpana, sankalpa. It is only a thought that she is my wife. And when she starts proving the meaning of the word wife, do you know the word meaning of the wife? Worry is invited forever. So when she starts demonstrating the word meaning of the word wife, then the husband starts having another thought process. I think I am miserable because of her. Earlier, I am happy because of her. And when this thought becomes deeper and deeper, then one day, why not we part? Let us be friends, stay away, and let us say goodbye. So, where was that husband and the wife? Was that husband and wife in God's creation? No. God's creation has no relationship. Think. So when the husband was born, kalpa, only by the thought, only by the projection, only by the imagination. So if I can imagine somebody is good, next moment I alone imagine that body is bad. And this is how the world is created and the world is absorbed. As long as the process of thought formation is alive, the world will never disappear. And in deep sleep, the moment the process of thinking is quietened, the world disappears, relativity is invalid, and we experience the bliss of absence of the duality. Therefore, there was never a creation, there is never a destruction. This has been constantly going on and on. Now he who has this vision, can you cow down such a person? If you do this thing, you will go to hell. One person came and told, I have done this, I have done that, I am so guilty, I am so frustrated, I don't know what I should. I think, I am going to go to hell, please help me. I said, please help you to go to hell or to stop? He said, no, I don't want to go to hell. I said, okay, you will never go to hell. He said, how come? Where are you now? Hell is that state of mind wherein, because of your own thinking process, you are miserable. See, we are all miserable not because of anybody. We are all self-sufficient as regard the misery is concerned. We go on imagining, somebody loves me, somebody hates me, somebody likes me, somebody doesn't like me, something is important, something is not important, somebody has honored me, somebody has dishonored me. These are all our own mind's projections, friends. And this is how the world is created every moment. With every thought, a new world is created. But from the absolute standpoint, the thought-free conscious knowledge, there is neither creation nor destruction. Once we come to that standpoint, then we look upon this world. If there is misery in this world, it is our own thought process. If we are happy, it is our own thought process. Therefore, friends, change the standpoint and enjoy every moment of your life. Thereafter, Prakrutim Swamavashtabhya Visrajami Punaha Bhutagramamimam Krusnam Avasham Prakrutervashat. Now the teacher says, there is a total freedom for all of us, provided we have the courage to exercise our right. What is the freedom? Whether you give importance to something or somebody in this world or not, it is your freedom. If I give importance to a particular object or a person, and then I go on thinking about that person all the while, and because of that thinking, I become miserable. So what is the solution? Solution is devalue the importance that you have given to anything in this world. Your samsara will disappear. And the freedom is given to us. But if we do not exercise this freedom, nobody can help us. Therefore, the here teacher says, Prakrutim Swam Avashtabhya. I, the Supreme Reality, every now and then withdraw the total world into absence, the great void. And at night when we sleep, the whole world is absorbed. And again in the morning, the whole world is projected. Again it is absorbed, again projected. How long it will continue? As long as the mind is not quietened for good. Once, by quietening the mind, you come to discover the absolute consciousness that you are. Thereafter, you play the game of the projections of the mind. Then you don't require any TV for entertainment. Sit quiet, switch on your mind's television and start seeing the game. He is like that, she is like that. Yes, after some time, enough. Okay, switch off. Relax. Such a simple spiritual life. It is we who have to change our standpoint. No, we may change, but the people won't. There was a house where it was written, beware of dogs. And when this person went with his wife, the dog started barking, wow, 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 wow. So, husband wanted to show off that he is powerful and stronger than the wife, which is always the opposite case. Had the husband been stronger than the wife, he would never have married her. Only weaklings get married. Okay, Maharaj, get married 8 times, how does it matter for me? So, when this husband went there, the dog was barking and he said, hey, don't worry, the barking dogs never bite. Let us go inside. Wife said, this is what you know. Does the dog know? That the barking dogs don't bite. Unless he knows, I will not come inside. So, I know the standpoint absolute and I can live this world in that manner. What about the people? They are still holding on to the relative standpoint. How to deal with such people? Simple technique. Don't take them seriously even for one moment. See? When a small child, you play fool with that child. You tell him, hey, I'll take your mummy with me, okay? Now the child with small little frog-sized hand tries to cover that huge round figure. No, don't take my mummy, it is my mummy, it is my mummy. You say, no, I am going to take you. So in that game, the child is taking as if it is very serious. But we, the elder ones, we know we are playing fool. In the same manner, live in this world like the best actor. What is the best actor does? His acting is so unique and sincere that we start feeling as if he is really living that life. So, live a life of an actor, because life is a drama and the world is a stage. Don't become serious about anything. So, when your husband comes, you tell him, honey, I love you, but don't become serious. The moment you will become serious, you are lost. And if he becomes angry, don't take seriously. Today, 2-3 screws might have fallen more. That is okay. After some time, it will be all right. Don't give any importance to anybody's reactions. And when you don't give importance to anybody's reaction, you stop reacting. Friends, when you act on the stage, you get money, name and fame. When you react in life, you get punishment and frustration. Now decide. The other day, a person asked me this question, Swamiji, you have been talking on Gita for so many years and people don't change. Don't you feel bad? I said, on the contrary, I am very happy. Because if they change, where will I go? My diet is their ignorance. I always pray to the Lord, like a doctor, Sarve bhavantu roginaha, Sarve bhavantu ajnaninaha. Let everybody be absolutely ignorant, then only we can survive. Friends, the day you take this standpoint, don't become serious. Then what are we doing in this world? Time pass. See, the whole life will change. And with that change vision, when you live, you will understand, Prakrutim swam avashtabhya visrajami punaha. So I alone withdraw every thought, and from me alone every thought comes, and therefore the supreme I, the thought-free I, is the absolute I. And when the same thought-free I puts on the clothings of the thought, this ahamvritti becomes the ego, the jiva, and he starts suffering. Both are eyes. In Australia recently, I gave a series of talks, and after the talks were over, my friend asked me, Swamiji, I don't know what you have started, where you are ending, but it is everything good. Please give some title so I will understand what we have learnt in last 7 days. I said, look here, the title of this series is Eye to Eye. So he has written EYE to EYE. I say, Rakshasa, it's not that. Small I to capital I. That is our spiritual journey. Living as a small I with a dot on the top is an idea. And when the dot on the top disappears, is the absolute I. So, Prakrutim Swam avashtabhya visrujami punah punaha. And therefore, bhuta gramamimam krusnam avasham prakrutehe vashat. So it is under my total control that I project the world, I absorb the world. I project the world, I absorb the world. Don't you see the children playing on the seashore? When the husband and wife tell their 2 children, whether you play here, we will go for a walk and we'll discuss some important matter. It is nothing but fighting in open space. So the children are preparing nice houses and every kind of thing. And when their discussions are over, and when the parents come, hey, come on kids, we have to go. Now what the children do? Come on, let us go and jump and destroy everything. The joy with which they have created that creation, with the same enthusiasm, they destroy it. That freedom is called as God realization. Don't hold on to anything in this world. In relativity, there is no life. In the absolute, there is no death. Therefore, bhuta gramamimam krusnam avasham prakrute vashat. And with this attitude, when I live in this world, what happens? Nacha mam tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. And therefore, when I am creating and destroying this world without getting involved, now see what happens. We are all becoming old. Now, becoming old is a sin or a merit? Sometime we have a problem in the stomach. It is a sin or a merit? Sometimes we get a gallbladder. It is a sin or a merit? No. It is happening. Because there is no I involved in that. But with that modification of the Prakriti, when we get identified, then we start telling, oh, I am having constipation. You don't have constipation, your system is having constipation. When your drainage is blocked in the house, you don't say, I am blocked. Think. And the whole thing comes only because of this mind. Therefore, when our attitude is like the Lord, Nachamam tani karmani nibadnanti dharanjaya. In this world, creation and destruction can cause problems only if you are identified as the doer. Then how do you live in this world, O Lord? Udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. I am totally indifferent. See? One principle, please understand. Do not become miserable because of anybody in this world. When you become miserable because of anybody in this world, you have given the key of your happiness in the pocket of the other person. See? Then what is to be done? There are people with whom you cannot relate. There are people in this world. Now you can't go on killing the people. The other day, there was the old theme going on somewhere. The daughter-in-law, mother-in-law fight. Now the daughter-in-law was in a good mood and I was there. So she started complaining about her mother-in-law in her absence. And I said, okay, now you simply want to talk about it, you talk. If you want a solution, we can think about the solution. Yes, I want to solve this whole problem. Possible solution number 1, kill the mother-in-law. Swami, don't say like that. I said, this is a possible solution. If you cannot kill, tell your husband to kill. Why are you after her? Okay, I'll go and kill her. No. Now, the 4th possibility. Can you change any old person? Even God has failed to change the old people. Therefore, He makes them fresh in the next life. Isn't it? So, what is the 3rd alternative? Okay. Now, if your house is next to the railway track, will you stop the railway sound? Then what you do? You increase your pitch while talking. In the same manner, you have no choice but to accept the world as it is. When you start accepting the world as it is, you are living from the absolute standpoint. But please remember, don't accept the world as Majburi ka naam Mahatma Gandhi. No. Accept the world cheerfully and happily. And what is that? Don't get influenced by anybody. The moment you understand, here is a source of nuisance. For example, you have a friend or a next shop where they are selling liquor or the drugs. And you know that if I look once there, I am likely to get tempted to drink. Don't look at it at all. Protect yourself. Udasina vadasinam. Now the second meaning is, Ut means above, Asina means seated. Rise above from where you are. Where are we now? We are now in relativity. So rise above the relativity and come to get established from the absolute standpoint. This is the way. Look at the world with total indifference. One person, when I went to South Africa, suggested me something, a welfare project for Gujarat. In South Africa, Gujaratis are maximum, more than the locals. So, this is Swamiji, we are collecting funds, you kindly go, and when you go, do this thing. I say, look here, as you have got your principle of life, I have got my principle of life. What is that? I don't want to do good to anybody in this world. All those who want to do good to others, they are imposing their views on others. In this world we are for our spiritual evolution. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasade. Then what will happen to the world? Sambhavami yuge yuge. I'll take care. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. So, udasina vadasinam. Rise above the relative world. Then how to deal with? Deal it very lightly. Somebody says you are really great. Don't start bumping in the air. Next time the same person will say that you are a thief. Words have no meaning. The one who is friend today, tomorrow he will be enemy. The one who is enemy today, tomorrow he will be friend. This world is constantly changing, and from the changing world to expect the absolute happiness is absolute foolishness. Therefore, friend, udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. Live in this world with total indifference. When you are living in this world with total indifference, means what? You take keen interest in this world. How take keen interest? You know, one of my spiritual practice, I'll tell you. It is a secret, but I'll tell you. One of my spiritual practice is taking 3 meals a day in 3 different houses throughout the life. Try this thing, then you will understand. And the tragedy is, you have to praise the food even if it is bad. So to come out of this sin, I had developed a technique. I praise the food before eating, so that you don't have to tell the lies. And after you finish the food, don't think about it. So, while taking food, you are taking full interest. The moment the food is over, you wash your hand, forget about it totally. In short, be very attentive. Living in the absolute standpoint is living all the time in the absolute present. Don't bring the past. Don't go on projecting the future. Somebody will like you, somebody will not like you. Somebody will get hurt because of you, somebody will be benefited by you. You don't care for both the things. Stand apart. And beware of those people who praise you the maximum. See, Tulsidaji says, Nindaka niyare rakhiye. Tulsidaji knew English. Therefore, niyare, near. So, keep the people who are blaming you very close, because they are our real well-wishers. In this manner, stay apart. Udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. Please don't try to solve anybody's problem. Please don't try to help anybody out of the way. Protect yourself first. And you are born in this world to change the relative standpoint and get established in the absolute experience. Give it as a final touch of your life. Now, after having said this, the teacher continues, Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. And all this world is constantly changing in different ways only because of I. Maya adhyakshena. See, whatever the bills Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha passes, unless it is authenticated by the President Adhyaksha, it is not valid. You have beautiful eyes, but if the eyes are not presided over by the divine grace, eyes are non-functional. See, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Everything is possible only when I is present. Be very attentive. Which I? The waking I, or the dream I, or the deep sleeper I, or the samadhi I. See, there are 4 eyes. Very, very important. Which I we are talking about? That I who is never leaving us. Waker I deserts us in the dream and the deep sleep. The dreamer I deserts us in the waking and the deep sleep. The deep sleeper I is not with us in the waking and the dream and the samadhi. But there is one absolute I who is supporting the waking experiences, and yet he is not influenced by any one of them. Supports all the dream experiences but not influenced by any one of them. Supports the experience of the deep the sleep and the samadhi, but not influenced by them. That I, maya adhyakshena, prakruti sujate sacharacharam. See? When you focus attention on this conscious principle, which expresses through body identification as a waker, the same conscious principle which expresses with the subtle body mind identification as the dreamer, the same conscious principle when expresses through the identification with the total absence of the waking and the dream as the deep sleeper, and the same consciousness when functions through the control of the matter as a samadhistha purusha, that consciousness is never purified by samadhi nor purified by the waking world. It is immaculate. It is one and the same. Like the space is not dirtied when we throw the garbage. The space does not become impure when the drainages are opened in the space. In the same manner, this conscious reality, the absolute, is the one because of which everything is possible. So, maya jakshena prakruti sujate sacharacharam. Sujate delivers. Without this I, the world cannot exist. When the I is with reference to the individual, it is the samsara. When the same I is with reference to the totality, it is the world. So, maya jakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. And it is on the substratum of the changeless reality all the changes are taking place. See, jagad viparivartate. See how great this knowledge is. We use time and space alternatively. How far is from here to Dadar? It takes about half an hour. No, I am asking the distance. Distance is about 10 kilometers. So, 10 kilometers and half an hour, they are optionally used. Do you know why? Because space and time are synonymous. Space is no change and time is all change. See? This is how the whole world is. Maya adhyakshena prakriti. It is only the changeless space which alone is able to give rise to the birth of the changing time. If there is no space, there cannot be time. In deep sleep, there is no space. Where is the time? In the waking space, a waking experience, there is a space, there is earth moving around itself, there is a sun, earth moving around that, and in this cosmic clock, the time is born. Just imagine, there is no space, there won't be any planets, there won't be any relativity, there won't be any birth of time. So, maya adhyakshena prakriti sujate characharam tacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagadvi parivartate. Therefore, all the changes that we are perceiving in this world, they are only in the relative world. From the absolute standpoint, there are no changes. The world has always been like this. There was never a bad world. There was never a good world. There was never a good husband. There was never a bad husband. There is only husband. Think. Many times, people ask this kind of question. Swamiji, is it not the right time for the Lord to descend in this world for the protection of the world? I say, what is wrong in this world? No, the world has become so bad. The world was never bad. How do you know that the world is more bad now? Earlier it was not bad. We agree with you. How do you say that the world will not be worse than today afterwards? Okay, we agree with you. Today the world is worse. Do you know why? Because you are present. You are not present in the past, you will not be present in the future. So the world's quality depends on you and none else. Focus attention on this absolute reality. Once you discover, you will see all relativity evaporates like the dewdrops disappearing after the rise of the sunlight. So, hetunane kaunteya jagat viparivartate. Now the teacher says, avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajanantaha mama bhuta maheshwaram. You know, one of the biggest problem, all the spiritual seekers in this world and the scientific personnel in this world, why they clash with each other? We imagine spirituality is scientific and thereby give a glorious picture of spirituality as a scientific approach. But it is wrong. In the scientific approach, latest discoveries are valued as more important and more valid. But on the spiritual part, topic, there is nothing like latest or old. It is the same. This is the basic difference. It is not that, during the earlier time the truth used to be very expansive and now after Kali the truth has become very shrunken. No, it is the same. Uninfluenced by time or any factor. So, these 2 points are brought out in this verse. Avajananti ma mudhaha manushim tanumashritam. Now see, those who are obsessed in favor of the names and forms, they always create problem for those who are following the path of nameless, formless reality. And those who are obsessed with the nameless, formless reality, they become the enemies of all the names and forms. See? And then their religions become, if I can destroy the idols of the gods, then I am really serving my God who is nameless and formless. This obsession is the cause of all the problems. This is what the teacher says, avajananti ma mudaha. Muda means what? Those who take their perception as real without understanding the reality behind the perception. They are called as fools. Mood means what? Those who are functioning under the influence of a mood, they are called as mood. Our Swamiji, Akhandaji Maharaj, he used to give this definition. जो मूड होते हैं, वो मूड में रहते हैं. When our mood is okay, aha, very nice, come on, let's have. When our mood is very bad, somebody talks to us, going on. Therefore, avajananti ma mudaha. Those who are under the obsession of the influence of their wrong notions, they are unable to recognize me. They are unable to understand the absolute standpoint. What is the absolute standpoint? All the ornaments are in the gold, but the gold is without any ornaments. See? No ornament can ever exist without gold, but gold continues to exist whether there is ornament or not. Third step. Therefore, if I have the correct understanding of gold, will I say gold must be without the name and the form of the ornament? If the gold is presented to me in the form of the name and the form of the ornaments, I reject it. I want the gold without any name and form. It is impossible. Friends, as long as we are identified with the name and the form, truth cannot be recognized as nameless, formless reality. See? And these names and forms become valid only when we are under the influence of the obsession in the mind. And therefore, avajananti ma mudaha manushim tanumashritam. So our understanding is only God is that nirgun nirakar, nameless, formless reality. Then what about all the names and forms? All the names and forms are also the same reality. See? Then alone we have the correct understanding. Technically speaking, it will be said like this. The reality is Vishwamaya and Vishwottirna. Technical words. In English we will say, the reality is immanent in this world, simultaneously transcendental to the world. See? When our understanding is complete in this manner, that the truth is in and through the relativity, and yet it does not suffer the limitations of relativity, that understanding alone is the complete understanding. With this understanding, we will play the game of relativity without losing our contact with the Absolute. With this knowledge alone, life becomes beautiful. So, avajananti ma mudaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajanantaha. So when they look at me like a Devaki putra, they imagine, how can this small little cowherd guy be God? It cannot be. Because I don't feel I am a God. There was one great Mahatma who was referred by his devotee as Bhagavad. So one person, atheist, went and asked him, how come you call yourself God? He said, I call you also God, I have no problem. I accept you also as God. It doesn't matter whether you accept me or not. So as easily I can accept you as God, I accept myself also God. What is the problem? See? But because we are obsessed with the name and the form, we are unable to recognize that reality which is beyond the name and the form. And that is why all the Upanishads talk about the reality in the language of negation, negation, negation. And when we come to a point where there is no more negation possible, that unnegable, ever present experience of being is the absolute reality. But when we are mudhaha, when we are under the obsession of our own foolishness, param bhavam ajanantaha, they are unable to recognize that the truth is simultaneously supporting all the names and the forms, and yet beyond the limitations of the names and the forms. That I am mama bhuta maheshwaram, that my real nature is I am the controller, supporter of the whole world. Meaning what? From the absolute point of view, the life is different. From the relative point of view, the life is different. Now what will be the life of those people who are caught up in the relativity? This is said in the 12th verse. The teacher says, Moghasha moga karmano mogas jnana vichetasaha rakshasima shurim chaiva prakrutim mohini shritaha. Such people, under the influence of the self-created delusion, what they do? First, moghasha. They have got false hopes about this world. If I go there, it will be good. If I start that, it will be good. If I do this thing, it will be good. In this world, if you really want peace, don't go out, go within. See? How long are we going to struggle and change this place, in that job, and continuously go on changing? Ultimately, you will end up into your self-pity. Mogha Asha is the hope, expectation. Mogha vain. All those who have struggled to get happiness by acquiring the world, all those who struggle to get by changing the place, changing the situation, they have necessarily failed in life. And yet we don't understand because we are obsessed with the relativity. Friends, please remember, in this world, there is not a single individual who has not been blamed by the world. Don't think that you are a unique person, that you are blamed for something or the other. That's why I like the Hindi cinema songs very much. They are full of wisdom. That one song, one line I will tell you. तू कौन है तेरा नाम है क्या सीता भी यहाँ बदनाम हुई. What do you think of yourself? But people are telling bad about me. They will tell bad about you if you listen to them. Why you have to listen? We are not obliged. But we get so much influenced by these wrong notions in our life, and then we have moghasha, vain hopes in the outer world. Friends, please discover this truth. Moghasha. Why this happens? Because we are giving value and importance to this relative world. In this world, even Bhagwan Krishna got frustrated toward the end of his life. When all his sons and people relations started fighting, Bhagwan Krishna with Balramji went to tell them, come on, don't fight. You are all Yadavas belonging to the same clan. When Bhagwan Krishna and Balramji went, all his own children started attacking on Bhagwan Sri Krishna. In this relative world, nobody has ever discovered peace. There is only one way. Discard relativity. And for that, stop running after this mirage that the world is. We have these wrong hopes. If I got more money. Those who have got more money, look at them. Constantly frustrated, dejected, tense. What is the use of all these corrections? But we take this relative world as the real one. And such fools, moghasha, they are living under the influence of the vain hopes, moghasha. And as a result of the moghasha, the vain hope, mogha karmanaha. All their activities are meaningless. We imagine, he is my friend. You are your own friend and you are your own enemy. Atmaiva atmano bandhu, atmaiva ripura atmanaha. Don't discover friends in the outer world. If your mind is at peace, if you are convinced of your own lifestyle, you don't require to get a certificate from the world that you are a great person. You don't require. You are answerable to your own conscience and not to the world. But we imagine, with this, if I do this thing, this will be happening. No. Moghasha, mogha karmanaha. Third, mogha jnanaha. Because they are carried by the advertisements on the TV. They are carried away by the big boards on the roadside. 1200 minutes free talk. That means you keep on talking nonsense. What will you talk? Learn to be silent rather than talking. Swamiji, why don't you? Another 2 minutes. So, moghas jnana. Their knowledge is clouded, they are befooling themselves. And the Lord's vichetasaha, because they are divorced from the wisdom. Such people, rakshasim asurim prakrutim mohinim ashritaha. Such people are under the influence of delusion of two kinds. First, one delusion is for the whims and fancy and the dreams of yourself, you trouble others. That is asuri prakriti. I want that, but because of your wanting, others are suffering. Who cares? I want it. That is the asuri prakriti. Rakshasi prakriti, I don't want anything, but I want to trouble others. See? Both these are the reasons because of which we are never attracted towards the absolute standpoint and lead a dignified life of peace within, peace without. Therefore, friends, please remember, don't try to solve the problems of your life by imagining that you change the things and the people around you and the things will change. It has never changed. It will never change. What is required is you change yourself. You change yourself. And the real achievement in life is not working. The real achievement is ability to withdraw from the world. The real achievement is not talking. The real achievement is ability to shut your mouth. The real achievement is not thinking. The real achievement is freedom from the thoughts. Think. The real achievement is not becoming active in this world. The real achievement is freedom to withdraw in a fraction of a second. Discover this and get established in this absolute standpoint. Thereafter, none in this world will have a freedom to influence our life. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.